Alrighty, hello everyone. I wanted to give some brief instructions on how assignments can be answered digitally using apps that should be on all student iPads. So you can see on my screen that I have a couple apps up here at the top of my screen. I have Sketches School, Book Creator, Keynote, and Pages. All four apps are great apps to use when answering the assignments digitally because all four apps allow you to do many of our basic drawing practices. Keynote, Pages, and Sketches School will also give you some fun painterly effects and allow you to explore using digital coded tools that resemble our physical tools like painting and pastels and crayons and other things like that. So let's explore Sketches Schools first. So if you open Sketches Schools, it's going to look a little bit something like this. In Sketches Schools, you should have a sketchbook. You can tap on your sketchbook, and then it should give you some pages that you've been working on. To create something new, you're going to hit the blank one that has the plus sign. That'll open you up to your sketchbook pages. You can go through the tutorial if you would like. This tells you a little bit about each of the tools, how you can move things around, and other fun things like that. I am going to just exit out of that. So you can see over here I have all of my art making tools. Right now I have the paintbrush selected, which is fun. Right now it's on kind of a lower opacity. The paintbrush can be used in a lot of different ways. It can be used to do lines or brush strokes, or if you tap it, it'll give you either a watermark or a spot, or sometimes both, which is kind of fun and exciting. Over here you can change your brush size. So right now I'm in the middle. I could make my brush really big or really small. I can also change the color by tapping on that little square in the corner and then selecting one of the colors that are already there. So let's say I do some work with purple. And you can see that I'm on the small brush right now. That affects all three forms of marks that the paintbrush can make. Alrighty. Let's say I want to use some other tools. So over here I've got a bunch of other tools. I've got the pencil, I've got a fine point marker, and a thicker round marker. I've got another type of paintbrush. This one is fun because as you paint with it, you can see that it can detect the different ways that my finger is pressing on my screen. And works really nicely and real painterly, kind of like a calligrapher's brush or how a watercolor artist might use their brush. This next tool allows you to make another type of mark. I would say that this mark is most similar to the mark that maybe a crayon or oil pastel would make. This next tool is a paintbrush. Let me switch colors here just so that we can appreciate the different marks that are being made. This next tool is a paintbrush. This is more similar to the kind of brush somebody might be using when working with acrylic paint or oil paint, so you can see that it's a little bit rougher in its texture, but it still has the marks that kind of show the different pressures that the finger or brush in this case is applying. We have the paintbrush that I started with before. We have this tool, which is an airbrush. Students love this tool. It's kind of like spray painting. I can change my size. Let's go with a bright color so we can really see and appreciate that. The next tool allows you to put in shapes. It also allows you to type, which is pretty neat, so you can add in some details that way. Another tool that you have is the roller or brayer, and this allows you to fill in big shapes all at once. So you'll see a dashed line that appears, and when you close that shape, it fills that shape in automatically. Another fun tool to be able to use. You can see that right now I'm working with a bit of different opacity. If I just tap with that tool, it fills in around all the space that's not described. The eraser does just what it says. It's going to erase everything, and just like your paintbrushes, the pressure that you apply allows you to erase bigger sections, so I can erase some of the hard work that I've been doing here. The blending tool allows you to blend marks together, so you can see that that area over there is getting a little fuzzy, a little muddled as those colors are being mixed together by the blending tool. You can, if you tap over on it, you can change the dimensions of that blending. The X-Acto knife tool allows you to cut pieces. You can then move those pieces around, which is kind of fun. You can also then get rid of those pieces or move them off to the side, layer them in different ways. A lot of fun. The ruler tool allows you to measure things, allows you to rotate. Lots of fun tools here to play with. I encourage you, if you are using this app to create, that you play with it a little bit first before you go on to actually creating with it for whatever project you're deciding to use. If you tap the three dots, it allows you to flip things that you have selected. It also allows you to either add in an image or share out the sketch that you've been working on. I'm going to, one other thing to note, undo buttons are over here and redo buttons as well. I'm going to exit out of that app right now, and I'm going to move on to Book Creator. In Book Creator, you can create a variety of different books. You can get a new book by selecting New Book up there at the top. You can decide what format you want your book to be in. If you are using this as a page to draw on for one of our projects, I ask that you pick one of these top options. I'm going to hit Landscape, and that brings me to my blank page. I can then come up here and hit the plus and do a variety of things. I can add in a photo, I can take a picture with my camera, I can draw with a pen, I can add text, I can add sound, lots of cool creation options here. I selected the pen. From there, if I tap on the circle, I can change the color. So I've got lots of fun colors up here. Also some magic inks that you can play with. If you scroll, there's some other ones too. You can create some inks as well. I'm going to create this with this fun magic ink. You can see that I'm drawing, and I can do a lot of fun drawing things. The pen tool is a little bit limited in Book Creator, but it does give you some fun options. You can select different styles of pens. So you can see here we've got a pen, we've got a crayon, we've got a flat marker, and auto. Auto is a fun one. If you select auto and then you start drawing, it's going to guess what you're trying to create, and then you can tap on the one that you want and it'll kind of auto-correct your drawing to that shape, which is pretty neat. I don't know where my shape went. Let's say I wanted to correct it to the spoon. Now I've got a nifty little spoon that I could use. So again, fun tool. You can exit out of that. There's an eraser in Book Creator, which you can use to erase your work. With all of them, you can reset the drawing if you tap on it again. Lots of fun tools there. Then you can hit the done and it would save your work. So that's Book Creator for answering projects. You can also do a lot of other fun things with Book Creator. Again, I encourage you to explore and be creative. Keynote and Pages, the tools for these work the same way. Once it loads here, I've got a lot of things happening in here. Alrighty, let's hit the cancel. So this is, you're going to start by creating a presentation. I recommend working on white. And then the first thing that I like to do is I tap and I delete these text boxes. Then I can come up to the plus, and I can, if it's on this photo icon here, add drawing down at the bottom. This brings me similar tools to what we saw in Sketches School. Not quite as many, but still some fun tools. So we've got the marker, the pencil, the crayon, the paint tube, the eraser, the magic lasso tool. All of them are awesome. Marker tools are great for drawing lines. You can change the color of any of these tools by selecting the circle after you have your tool selected. You can then swipe over to the left to use the color wheel. You can adjust the color with these sliders, or you can use this eyedropper tool to load colors. So for instance, if you inserted a photograph first, you could load colors from that photograph using the eyedropper tool. The pencil and crayon are each going to have a bit more texture. If you tap on a tool twice, you can change its size. You can also adjust its opacity. When it's 100%, you can't see through it. When it's something lower than that, you can. So for instance, this pencil's got a little bit of texture. If I zoom in here, you can really see the grain from that pencil mark. Crayon is going to have more texture. It's also a larger mark. So I have it on the largest setting, just like I did with the pencil, and you can see that that mark is a lot larger than the mark from the other tool. The paint tool works the same way as it does in Sketches School. You can draw a shape with your finger. That dashed line shows you where that shape is going to fill. You can adjust opacity so that your shape is kind of see-through. Lots of fun things that you can do with that. With the eraser, you can tap on it to change the size. This one on the end allows you to delete an entire mark all at once, which is pretty handy-dandy. For instance, in saving time when trying to erase your work. Another way to use the paint tool is if you have a closed shape, you can tap in that shape and it'll automatically fill with your color. The lasso tool allows you to select your work. You can copy, cut, delete, resize, duplicate. You can also come back and change the colors. And if I had multiple things drawn, I could change the order over here. Make sure that if you're drawing in Keynote that you hit the done when you're done to save your work. The best way to share this is to take a screenshot either through using a assistive touch magic button or by pressing down on your power button and then pressing the home button. Both are great ways to take a screenshot of your work. And so again, the same tools are present in Pages. So if you go to Pages and you wait for the app to load, because that's just kind of the order of business here, you can select the plus button up at the top. You can select a blank paper. I'm going to do landscape since that's how I am having my screen right now. And then I can come up and I can hit the plus and I can add in a drawing just like I modeled before. So drawing down there on the bottom. If I wanted to add in a shape, that's one thing I didn't talk about. There are a bunch of fabulous shapes that you can add in. And these are fun because you can group them, ungroup them, subtract them from each other. You can edit their colors. So for instance, if I had my fabulous crayon here, I could change the size of my crayon. I can move my crayon around. Maybe then I decide to add in a drawing. I go back to the photo icon, grab drawing from the bottom, grab my crayon, and then change the color to the blue of the crayon that I got, and I could start making some fun crayon drawings as if it's coming from the crayon. So again, have fun playing with these tools. These are the apps that I recommend using for answering our digital art projects. For any digital art project, I ask that you, when you are done, you take a screenshot of your completed project to submit it to where we are submitting our artwork.